Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're not gonna play a game. Instead, I'm gonna show you something I've been working on for almost half a year. It's called Consyl Engine. Basically, it is an engine that renders graphics in using characters instead of pixels. So each pixel is basically a single character or letter or number, whatever there is in the keyboard. It's mainly a 2D engine, but you can make 3D if you have enough experience or you know how to make a 3D, can make it into a 3D engine if you like. So today I'm gonna show you how to make a basic character. I'm gonna show you how to make a basic controllable character. So first of all, you need to get to the link in the description. Link to the description. There is a GitHub page where you get the Consyl Engine. If you want to learn more about Consyl Engine, here is the entire documentation down below here. Link, of course, the link will be in the description. If you want to install, do not click on code and clone it or whatever. You instead go to releases, select the latest release. Then you download the source code.zip. This will show up. I already downloaded it. You right click and extract here. You can only do that if you have WinRAR. Okay, first of all you need Visual Studio. Visual Studio, you have to have Visual Studio in order to use it. Without Visual Studio you can't use it. So you click on the solution, the SLN file. Once it loads, you will see nothing here, nothing at all. You have to open you have to be in the Solution Explorer. Click on the triangle here. It will open up this menu files. You select gamecode.cs. This is where you make everything in. This is where you code everything in and make your game here. It's mostly here. So first, in order to create a player, you need to first we have to put 3 variables. You type in float x. This I'm gonna set it to this static float y. The 10 and 10 is just the x and y is the coordinates of the player. The coordinates player. You have to type it like this, so it's more understandable. Since it's float, I have to put 0.0f so to become more clearer. So anyway, x and y is just the coordinates of the player, and it will determine where the player is in the screen. We also need speed, float speed. I'm gonna set this to 0.25 f. So now this is the speed of the player. If the speed is the higher the speed here, the faster the player will move on the screen. So in order to allow input, you have to add this on game update. On game update is where you add the inputs and the calculations and whatever. So you do this. You can do this. Press tab twice and it will add this template. So we do keyboard dot is key pressed. Inside the parentheses you do key dot and whatever button you like. So I'm gonna choose W. So and when you press W, I'm gonna do this. Y minus equals the speed. The reason I I add the speed is just so that it controls the speed of the player. If I do this, it will remove the amount of speed from the x and y values and to move up. The lower the y, the higher it goes, and the higher if I increase the y, it goes the opposite way. This is just how it is. In x, is the same, but in horizontal way. When you decrease the x, it goes to the left, and when you increase the x, it will go to the right. You can mess with, since I told you that, you can mess with the coordinates and understand how things work. So if it is on 0, 0, it will be on the top left of the screen. Since I made this now, I can just copy this for 3 more times. Now you can just change the key inputs and the code inside. So if I press now WASD, it will all move up. It will make the player move up. Each button does the same thing. So what you can do, in order for it to have free control over the world, you can do this. When you now A is look at the keyboard. A is when you go to the left. So you change this to X, and when you go to the left, you minus the speed. You remove the speed from it. And when you press S, it goes down. So since W goes up, it's opposite. So we do plus. And here we do everything opposite. We set this to X and this to plus, because since it's going to the right, like just like that. This is how it's supposed to look like. Now when I press play right now, there is nothing on the screen. This is because we haven't drawn anything on the screen. We haven't drawn the player. So you see there is another place we can put things in. On graphics update, this is where you put the drawing stuff, the things that are related to graphics and drawing and rendering. You can add everything here. It doesn't have to be related to graphics. You can add stuff from here inside here if you like. But the reason there is two of it is because that when you can make this paused. You can pause this one, but you can't pause this one. We are going to make a controller player that looks like a single pixel. We do this gfx dot draw pixel. It's gonna show this. It shows an error right now. You have to type in x and y and how the pixel looks like. We're gonna set it to x. Still, there's two small errors here. It says here cannot convert float to int. So if you want to convert float to int, you type in parentheses here, type like this, and type like this. The reason I used float here instead of int is because that we can control the speed. So you can put the speed between like 0.2 something like that instead of 1, 2, 3 speed, because there is more freedom for controlling the speed. So when I play, here is the player, moves all over the screen. This is how you make a player. I'm gonna show you how to make a way to pause. In order to pause a game, you create a new boolean called can pause. By default, I am gonna set it to true. I add this boolean just because if I press the pause button, it will not just gonna continually change the switch between the pause and unpause. I'm gonna add it here because on graphics update is exactly the same as on game update. It's just it won't, if you pause it, it will continue to run. If the game is paused, only on game update will stop working. So you add the controls, anything that's not in the pause menu, you add it here. The graphics related things and the one from the things in the pause menu shall stay here. So this will be in the pause menu. We type in key dot is key pressed, and we set the key to P or whatever button you like. I'm gonna show you something before we continue on. you go open the engine contents and select engine.cs. It will open the code for the engine. Do not worry about this code things. Just look at here. You will see variables you can control. Here you can change the game title when it shows up on the top left corner of the screen. You can like set it to the awesome game, something like that. If you play, it will show up in the screen. The awesome game. If this determines whether the game is running. It's recommended to not change the game running to false, because once you start playing, it will immediately turn off. It will turn off the game. See? Determines whether the game is running or not. The game will close if false. This is what you want right now. Game paused. You want to pause the game. You do this engine dot is wait, hold on, what's game paused. Engine dot game paused equal to not engine dot game pause. I'm gonna explain this for a second. If you do this, if this is true, it will set this. If the game pause is true, it will set it to false. If it's false, it's gonna set it to true. This is a way of making some sort of toggling system. But first, it will still switch between the paused and unpaused game phase. So you can do this. Type in and in the if statement. If can pause. Still, it will continue to switch between. So you do this. Can pause equal to false. So it can only press pause once. And when you release the button, you do can pause equal to true, which makes some sort of toggling thing. When you hold it, it will not continually switch between. So if I press play full screen, and you see I can control. If I press pause, I can't control anymore. If I press pause again, okay, for some reason this does not work. I'm gonna add this gfx.draw text and add semicolon. We're gonna set the location to here, and we are gonna debug the thing, why it's not working. So I can do this can pause dot toString like that. I'm gonna do this can pause game and do this. Now we can check if you can do that or not. Now see, can pause game, it is true. If I press pause, false. Okay, now it broke again. The game broke again. Don't know why this okay, and so instead of doing else, we can do this, because I think the reason is why it doesn't allow is because of the can pause thing. You can do this instead. Hold on, let me put this. Anyway, this is how you do it. Because there's can pause here, you have to make it separate. If I press, now it's paused. I can't move at all. As you can see, you might be able to hear the key mashing. If I unpause, now I can move. So basically, since this is inside the on-game update, this entire thing on game update will be paused when I press pause, but this will not. So that's why I add this here. If I add this part of code inside here, you can pause, but you cannot unpause. One last thing. No, actually, I'm gonna show you two more things, two important things. You can import a texture, static. You type in static texture. You call it whatever you like. I'm gonna call it player sprite equal to new texture, open and close parentheses, and type in the file name. I'm gonna call it image.png. You can set this to whatever the file you have whatever it's called, and I also add the file format. So right now I'm gonna show you how to add the textures inside the game. So I'm in right now in the engine files. You need to go to bin debug netcore app 3.1. See, if you don't see debug and see release instead, you can click on it. It's the same thing. You paste whatever image you like. I'm gonna rename this to image.png since the code says it's the same. This is how you create an image. Now we have to draw it on the player. Instead of doing gfx.drawPixel, you can do this instead. You do what should we call it? Player sprite dot draw image, and you remove this because you don't need that. You just need to player sprite dot draw image x and y, and you have to convert the float into an int. That's how you do it. Now if I play, you'll see the sprite I added. You can see everything here. If I pause, I cannot move. You can also do this thing. If it you can do this something simple, and you do engine dot game paused. Since it's a bool, you can just add it here. If it's paused, you can do this gfx dot draw text. I'm gonna put it like somewhere here, and type in the game is paused. You do that. Hold on. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Now if I pause, I press P, it says here the game is paused. So I can't move right now. I unpause, now it disappears. You can add it in the middle of the screen if you like. Whoops. Now one last thing. I'm gonna add a sound effect. I'm gonna show you how to add a sound effect. And that will be it. So I'm gonna create a static audio and call it what should it be called? I'm gonna add pause sound, and I do this new audio and add the file name. I'm gonna call it pause.wav. This is what it is. So I'm gonna import the audio. It's basically the same way as the texture. So I'm gonna skip to the part where I code in the audio. And now since we created the variable for it, we can do this now. When you pause and unpause, you can do this. We call it pause sound dot play sound. Yeah, these inside the pausing and unpausing. So when I play, oh yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. To remove this from here, not this one. Yeah, yeah, the one over there, not down there. If I press pause, every time you press pause, it creates this sound. You can spam. Every time you press P, it will create the sound. It will play the sound effect. Let's pause that now. Now I can move. So this is how you make a sound effect. Also, before I end the video, I'm gonna show you new things that will make you understand the engine more. You can add more stuff for it, or you get more ideas. On game start is when the game starts running, and well, like when you press play, and this will execute whatever it's inside this code. And on game ends execute when game running is false, as I showed you before here. Game running, you should not set this to false, or else it's gonna skip everything here and immediately go to on game end. Also, I showed you this only the first three variables. I'm gonna show you the rest. Draw ASCII render is basically a way to control if you want to use the rendering capabilities of Consyl Engine or not. If you set this to false, the game will not render at all. You can like set it to whatever you like. Instead, your own graphics code instead of using the one that's built in. This is the resolution of the graphics of the ASCII graphics. The frame rate is the maximum frame rate of the graphics, the ASCII graphics. This, the last two variables, set the background and the foreground color. You cannot change it on runtime. This only can be set when you start the game. So you cannot just set the background from here. So I set this to read only so that you cannot change from anywhere else. You can only set it here. By default, the background is black and the text is white. If you need any more help, you can go to the GitHub page and go to discussions here, and go to help here. You can ask for any help. There aren't any discussion yet for anything. No one said anything at all. But if you can show off your creations here, you give ideas or ask for ideas here. This is when you need help for coding or whatever. General is basically general. You know what's general. You can press V all to show everything. If you have any issues, like you find a bug in the engine, or you want a new feature to be added, you can go to issues and create a new issue. You can choose between a bug report or feature request, and it will be added. And pull if you want to code in stuff and you want to add code into the engine, you can do a pull request. You create a new pull request, add whatever you like in it, and I will see if it is good enough. Before you begin, these are the requirements for the engine. Most of it you should not worry too much about because most people have these requirements. The requirements are very low. You like 2 GHz dual core, 2 GB DDR3. You don't need a GPU for the Consyl engine. And the Consyl engine is very lightweight. It takes only 5 MB of storage. Around 5 MB. You need Windows 10. You need Visual Studio that runs C#. You need C# knowledge. You can watch the Braki's tutorial series to get you caught up. And if you, it's not necessary but recommended, if you want to make better games, you need to have a bit of experience playing games. You cannot just make games without playing them. I mean, I'm just spitting facts right now. If you want more help, or you want to discuss with other game developers from any engine, or from any different sections of the game development cycle, you can join the Game Devers, which is a server full of game developers, whether they are designers or 3D designers, 2D programmers, testers, like basically every type of. You can team up. You can team up there and work together to make a game. You can test other people's game. You can show off. The link will be in the description if you want to join. So if you like this video, please press like, and see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.